Folks, all right, we're live. I'm Dr. G. Rex Kruhly. This is my Q&A session for the next collective coming up, and you can ask anything you would like to ask. I'm in Thailand, and I'm ready, willing, and able. Fire away, please. Question, Kimberly, why do people have fear about healing? It's like they are afraid to let go of an illness because they Well, Kimberly, sweetheart, you pretty much answered your own question. She's saying, why do people have fear about healing? And then she says, it's like they're afraid to let go of an illness because they define themselves by it. That is exactly correct. As a doctor, many of us doctors and healers are aware of the fact that when we receive a client, many times, the client doesn't actually want to heal. They don't want to heal. And for the most part, that is about 99% of the time completely unconscious. I'll never forget the first time when I was suffering with one of my many injuries, and Dr. Habersky asked the question, had me ask, do I want to heal this? And I thought, what a stupid question. Of course I want to heal. Why would I be in your office if I didn't want to heal? And the answer, subconscious answer, was no, because there was an identification with it. See, the problem can often give us a sense of importance or can get attention. See, in my case, when I was 6 and the family abandoned me emotionally for the rest of my life, I was unseen in the house. In order to get attention so that my mom would touch me or rub my belly, I would become very sick, develop all kinds of stomach issues, colitis, all kinds of things. And my need to be touched and loved and have attention from mom develops the stomach problem. And then attention from mom reinforces the sickness, which is the means being manifested so I get attention, and that starts a program. And then the program gets hardwired in. And as I grew up as a man and all through my life and till forever, that was there. It's really tricky to get rid of too, because of the amount of entanglements that went with it. So that's why they're afraid to heal, because they're letting go. It's like a part of their. I remember seeing a lady. She was being used like a medical experiment because she had cancer, and she was so thrilled that they were going to take these organs out and they were going to sew up this, and then they were going to pipe her full of these brand new chemo uh, horrible stuff. And this was an older lady in her 30s, and she was so excited. She was so identified that she was important because they were doing all this stuff to her. And of course, by now or shortly thereafter, she's a corpse. So does that make sense? So you're correct in the first place, and that hopefully you can see how, from my example, how that occurs. It's very easy to occur. Hello, hello, Lisa. How is the city recovering after the earthquake? You know, it's really funny. My wife and I and our friends, we were all driving into Bangkok. We were on our way to Bangkok, a couple of hours outside the city when the earthquake hit, and we found out about it on the news because someone in the car was looking at the social media. Well, anyway, when we entered Bangkok, it was during the aftershocks. Well, first of all, my wife and I are both protected by the divine because I have my oi is in the golden pot in Sataloka in the 81,000. And then, of course, I'm a Sevak. We never encountered or saw anything. The only thing we ever had was heavy traffic. The traffic was heavy, but never saw anything. We spent the next 2 days in Bangkok and went sightseeing and everything. There was no sign of anything anywhere. So uh, it was very interesting. Um, but nothing occurred for us in any way, shape, or form. Don't forget to like, please. Yeah. Yeah, don't forget to like. Please like us and share this and uh, help Depth Healing to grow. Depth Healing and myself only exist for the service that I do. That's why I was born. So Depth Healing exists for the world. That's what it's for. And at this point in time, I call now the Depth Healing is literally a pathway of power. It really is. It's evolved into a pathway of power. Okay, question. What can help me explain a question or situation to a person or people without them being confused? What can help me explain a question or situation to a person or people without them being confused? Okay, well, Queen, first, you have to sort of understand this is really well put to me because um, there was always a problem for me in the old days, and I hope it's gone now. But I would always explain stuff um, way over people's heads. I thought it was real obvious, but it wasn't obvious. I thought it was obvious. I thought I dummied it down so that they could understand it, but I found out later many times, although they were looked like they were being polite to me, they didn't understand me. So the trick is to have a grasp of what do they understand. That's why you hear me say now, did I answer that question? Or does that make sense? And then if somebody says to me, that doesn't make sense, I don't follow you. See, in my case, if someone's explaining something to me and I don't understand it, I say, I don't understand, or you lost me at this point. And I'll stop the speaker because if you see in the research, it shows if someone is talking, like say a professor, and you're at the lecture, and he uses a term that you don't know, there is I can't remember the drop off in understanding is dramatic from that point on for the rest of the lecture. So that's why it's good to stop the person giving the talk and say, could you clarify this? Or what does that mean? Or I don't understand. So that's one is for you try to understand your audience or the person or people. And then you have to try to say it as simply as you can. And then I would always preface things as you're talking. Does that make sense? Do you follow me so far? And it's very, very important. Skillful speakers like Joe Dispenza or Greg Braden, people like that, um, Bruce Lipton. You'll hear Bruce Lipton. One of the things I like about him is he'll say, he'll make a statement and then he'll say, what's the relevance? And then he's clarifying, see, as he goes. Because when those guys are doing a podcast or something, or some big public lecture, they can't have people interrupting them all the time. So they preface things in like that all the way along the line. Does that help you? Did I help you with that? Kimberly, why do you think people have fear about facing their dark sides? I love you, honey. Why do we have fear of facing our dark side? Because we are all heavily invested in thinking we're great, that we're fine, that we're nice, that we're good looking, that we're all these nice things, and we couldn't possibly be perverse, ugly, terrible, rude, vulgar, repulsive, but we're all of those things. I love King Solomon. King Solomon, one of the greatest people that ever walked the earth, and was given all of his position directly by the divine. And I'm connected with King Solomon. If you go to a book called The Key of King Solomon, Key, in it you'll see it's about 2 or 3 page long prayer. It's a confession by King Solomon asking forgiveness. And then if you read that, it'll blow your mind. It's so profound. I actually hand wrote it and transcribed it. And what he's doing there is asking forgiveness from a past lives and current life perspective for being a murderer, a rapist, for being all the different things you could ever imagine, because we've done them all, folks. We've done them all. Murder, everything, you've done them all. Like Bhagavan says, the actual fact of the matter, when you start a real heavy, real spiritual practice, you find out that you're nothing but a trash heap. That's Bhagavan's direct quote. It's a big trash heap. Now, the funny thing about the trash heap is this. Once you see it and accept it, it has no power anymore. It has no power at all. It's avoiding it that gives it power. That's why I don't know how to say it in Indian. To see is to be free. To see is to be free. We spend almost all our energy not seeing. Can't look at it. Can't look. That's what's called in Psychology 101 a projection. You're a vulgar, rude ass, and you could never see that in yourself, so you see it in Fred over there. He's a vulgar, rude ass. You're the vulgar, rude ass, but you see it, you put it on him. This is just simple psychology now. They call it a projection. Now, you won't be specifically like him. It'll be the qualities. It's the qualities. So the next time somebody really, really upsets you, that's you. Once you settle down, it might even take you days to settle down, do what I do. You get out a pen and paper and start to describe how repulsive or how angry or how ugly or how rude, whatever it is, about them. And then on the other side of the paper, you ask the question, where am I like that? Qualitatively. How am I like that? Qualitatively. And it's an interesting exercise. I had to do that in what year was that? 2020, the end of 2016, with a director at a private international school where I was teaching in Chiang Mai, and most repulsive person I ever met in my life. And after my anger dropped down, took days. I sat down and I did that exercise. I had to find qualitatively what am I seeing about myself in that lady, projecting onto that lady. And it wasn't just me; something like 12 guys all quit right in the middle of the teaching season. They all left, all the foreigners, because of her. But the thing is, she's activating myself. She's activating myself. So to see your dark side takes higher consciousness. And once you just look at it and accept it, like Bhagavan said, the only difference between a great saint and us, the saint knows all of his dark side and his perversity and all, and he doesn't care, doesn't bother him. He doesn't ignore it. He doesn't try to apologize for it or anything. It is what it is. That's the difference. I hope I answered that question. Lise, I have had a difficult time letting go of a current dead end relationship I am in. It has not been good for me yet. For some reason, I don't seem to have what it takes. All you got to do is see me, and that's a specialty of mine. And I will do what is known as an energy exchange. When I do the energy exchange, honey, it'll be as if you never met him, and it'll be the same for him. What it does is it just like separates you at like the soul, what you would call the soul level, and all of you that is invested in him will come back to you, and all of him in you will go back to him, and you're separated, and the story is over with, and it grows stronger and stronger with time, and you'll be able to remember him, but there will be no emotional connection or overlay or anything at all. Just set up a session with me and I'll take care of that for you, honey. How does faith come into play when fear is present? Sheba, hi Sheba. How does faith come into play when fear is present? Well, first of all, regarding fear is the small I. The small I is fear. It's not the small I has fear. The small I is fear. As long as you're alive and you have a self, you will always have fear. Now, faith means believing or trusting something that you cannot see or taste or touch, and you have faith in that. In the 81,000 Dharma, we don't use faith. We use direct experience. I don't have to have faith in the divine. I have direct experience of the divine. I don't have faith in grace. I have direct experience of grace. So I know what grace is. I know what the divine is, and I know what, because I have experience. If you haven't had experience yet, that's where faith is the next level down. So you have faith. Fear will always be there. It'll always be there until you're enlightened. If you are given enlightenment, fear's gone. I have experienced that state because I've been given the state of being in an enlightened state for about 45 minutes, and in 1991, and it's true. There isn't any fear at all, not of dying, not of anything, nothing. But there's no way to explain that state to you unless you experience it. It's completely worthless to talk about it because you have no point of reference. Um, but it's always good to develop your faith, and then what we want for you is direct experience. Once you experience something directly, it's like someone says a candle flame will burn your finger. It doesn't mean anything. It's got an intellectual idea, but if you stick your finger in that in the over the candle, you have an experience of it, and then you know what it is. Does that help you, honey? Kimberly, when someone is having a moment of fear and suddenly an unexpected strength takes over suddenly, where does the strength come from? Depends. Where does the strength come from if there's um, of fear and then suddenly you have strength? Um, I'll give you an example. Uh, first and foremost, everything is contained within us. As Bhagavan said, eventually, spiritually speaking, we will actually merge with the great compassionate light, and you find out that you're the all that is. So everything is within us. I remember a day one time in 1991. I was on a 9-day wilderness experience hosted by the University of Windsor, and it was a canoe trip up in Algonquin Park during the season where if you fall in that water, where it's a canoe trip, um, and it's something like 90 miles. And if you fall in that water, you'll be dead. You're frozen to death in up to 15 minutes. It really is the real deal. There was a big group of us. We had to qualify, and I was in top shape and ready for that trip. And I was the older one, because I had gone back to university later in life. Most of the guys, I call them kids. They were about 10 years younger than me. And we were on the we had gone to an island way out in this during the trip. We were on this island quite a long long ways from shore. And during the night, a huge storm blew up, big one. I was We all got to share tents, and I shared the tent with Jerry Pfaff. Jerry Pfaff was the camp leader, and he was a professional firefighter. He's a tremendous man, one of the strongest men I ever saw in my life. And he was a hunchback. He had a great big giant hunch on his back. Not gigantic, but very big. And he's tall. He's taller than me. I'm 6'2". He was about 6'3". Had laser blue eyes. And when we woke up, him and I, the canoes we were using were like 9 feet long, like really, oh, no, pardon me, 8 to 18 feet long. Very, very big canoes. And you get two people in, one in the front, one in the back, and then you put all of the gear in the middle of the canoe. So when we woke up, I looked at the lake, and the waves were huge, white caps, and the wind was blowing, And I looked at Jerry, and I didn't want him to, because I was a martial artist. I was a full contact karate tough guy back then, and big bouncer in Detroit, all kinds of stuff. And I didn't want him to know I was so scared, you know. And I looked at Jerry and I said, "Those waves are pretty big, Jerry. Um, what do you think we should sort of sit this storm out?" And of course, there's an agenda. He's only got a certain amount of time to get us all the way to the other point to be picked up, eh? Because we're way out in the wilderness. If something goes wrong, you're dead and gone. And all Jerry looked over at the waves and he looked back at me and he says, "Yeah, pretty big waves, but I rise to the challenge." And the moment I looked in his eyes and heard him say, "I rise to the challenge," it picked up my courage and guts. And man, you should have seen us take that lake. And I was digging in. I didn't give a damn about anything. And I felt like a man. And what we say in King Solomon's, the precepts, he says, or the Proverbs, he says, iron sharpens iron, man sharpens man. So what happens is the powers in ourselves, we human beings can pick each other up and inspire each other. That's why it's important, as I always teaching you, be careful what images you watch and see. Don't watch the idiots, the weak idiots that they show nowadays on. I'm watching more and more, so many good programs, warning off all of the young men or boys, because men are rare, not not to look at any of the new movies and all of that, because they reduce males to buffoons. And actually, apparently, so many of the young males, 20 and down, are all turning to the old movies where the men are men and they have presence and so forth and so on. You have to watch what you're taking your inspiration from. Trash or something powerful, brave or cowardly, inspired or weak. It's very, very important. So that's how that moment, just by looking in Jerry's eyes and hearing his voice, picked me right up. I felt like William Wallace. Does that help you, Kimberly? How do we accept how do we accept the inevitable path of aging? Well, Lisa, you're looking at a man that was a professional athlete for about 39 years, and I'm getting older. And I was just talking to somebody about this, one of my clients yesterday. Lady that was always young and beautiful. She's still young and beautiful, but she's older than I am. And I'm watching my body and watching my behaviors and how I talk, walk, sit, everything. Um, because I'm very determined to age with dignity. I have no intention of looking like whatever. I intend to age with dignity. Now, how do you accept it? Acceptance is, you have to look at it. The word acceptance means, like I said earlier, to see is to be free. You have to look at it. It is what it is. Now, there are caveats to this. Chronologically, in my case, I'm 67. But when we take my biometrics, I'm only 45. Now, let me say that again. My biometrics are 45 years old. What are biometrics? Telomere length, your genetic expression, internal cellular health, and so forth. I'm 45. Chronological age doesn't mean much about anything. What it does do, though, in terms of your birthday, is your belief system. Your belief system. Your brain is designed to do one thing, to make you congruent with your belief system. All cutting edge, peer reviewed neuroscience has shown in endless studies our brain is only designed to make you literally aligned with your belief system. So, where you want to deal with your aging or with anything else about you, you have to try to go vertically in to check your belief system. That's why you come to see me. Your frontal cortex and your rationalized what you think you believe is very often not true at all. You think you believe this, your subconscious mind is completely the opposite way, and it rules. It rules. That's just like the conversation we were having just a little while ago when we first started. People think they want to heal. They don't want to heal, but they don't know that. That's the value of coming to see me. We go into your subconscious mind. We find out what the truth is. As long as we find it, we can change it. But we have to find it. You won't change anything unless you find it. Nothing. You'll just continue and everything will be on automatic. Your brain will search for every possible evidence that your beliefs, whatever they are, good, bad, or ugly, true, false, it will search everything and make sure that you're right. Like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. That's according to neuroscience, that's true. Okay, does that help you? How to cultivate strength in moments of sickness or pain. Yeah, Sheba, you should have seen me throughout the 2024. Boy, I was hurt and I was all alone. And for me to be able to walk, just to get out of the bed, I had to rev up my ambition because it was so painful to try to roll up out of the bed. And then when you first sit down, all of the spasms would hit me. That was step one. Then eventually I had to stand up with crutches. And once I stood up, I had to stand there braced in the crutches for about 4 or 5 minutes, depends what day, while the horrible spasms would curse through and I was just paralyzed in pain. Meanwhile, I got to go to the bathroom, but the bathroom is like, let's say 8 feet around the corner and through the door. And it would take me sometimes 7 minutes just to get across 8 feet. I lived an entire year like that. How do you cultivate strength? What you do is what I had to do. I teach wealth consciousness. Wealth consciousness is where you take stock of all that you actually have, and you acknowledge it and notice it and feel grateful for it. Then you mentally you focus on everything that is working, everything that is beautiful, and what you're doing is taking all of your attention and putting it on this positive. See, that positive attention and acknowledgement of all that you actually have activates the frontal cortex, especially left prefrontal cortex. That activates the motivation centers of your brain. That raises your frequency and vibration. And then that, because of the law of resonance, the universe gives you more wealth. Well, when I was hurt so severely, I realized at a certain point during 2024, I needed to, because you start to feel sorry for yourself when it's so long and the pain is so great or the sickness is so great that you start to wonder if you'll ever heal. And then that projects to what kind of life am I going to have? And I don't, and it's just a whole thing. So what I did was I started to make what I call health consciousness. And you start to look at the fact that I had both arms and my hands and both my legs. I'm not deformed. I will heal. Um, my heart is good. My eyes work. I have all of my senses. And I started to take stock of all that my body does have that is working, that it represents health. And that starts to overtake, become greater than the area of sickness or pain. Donald Epstein, the founder of Network Chiropractic, calls that reorganizational healing. We learn that in Network Chiropractic. Instead of, as a regular doctor, say you hurt your left shoulder, the regular doctor looks at the left shoulder. In Network Chiropractic, they don't. They look at all of the health around the shoulder. And by amplifying the health and ease around the shoulder, it overtakes the shoulder. It absorbs the problem of the shoulder into the health. The health overtakes it. So that's how you can cultivate strength. You have to. It's a reframing of attention. You know, the one of the world's greatest of all greatest Marines was a man named Chesty Puller. Chesty Puller. I wish hell I could have met that. What a great man. That guy isn't afraid of nothing. One time is very famous. Him and his Marines, him and his boys were completely surrounded by vastly greater number superior forces. And anybody, when you're completely surrounded and just everything, it's easy to think, we're just going to be overtaken and massacred. And all Chesty Puller says is, this isn't a quote, but he said something like, "Good, they're everywhere around us. We don't have to go looking for them. We'll be able to find them." Something like that. And so what he's doing is he's reframing. He's reframing. I used to do that when I faced down motorcycle gangs by myself back in the old days when I was a young buck. I reframe it. I just see the leader of the motorcycle gang as a corpse, and the rest of them are mice. And sure enough, they all left. I never once even had to hit any of them. They just went. But I reframe it, and then from the reframing, I draw on power. Reframing can do that for you. Did that answer your question? My brain doesn't believe I'm actually 52, but my body does. Well, So 52 is very young. I need to see. Okay, Lisa, and I'm ready for you. So Kimberly, regarding where you say my brain doesn't think I'm 52, but my body does. I totally understand. So what you have to do with the body temple is, um, uh, for instance, if we go back to me now, they thanks to the great docs I got in Pattaya, they redesigned my spine. When they redesigned my spine and my hips, my knees, all of the kinetic chain from my feet and ankles all the way up, my body uh, has to be redone because everything changed. I'm still trying to figure out how to groove back into walking. So what I'm getting at is your body temple is malleable. It responds to care, to attention, to really, really good nutrition. Um, I fuel myself up every morning with a very, very sophisticated, great nutrition. I fuel up and I hydrate up, and your body temple will respond. 52 is very young. Between 40, when you become an adult, and 60, you're in your prime. All it requires is attention, love, and care, and it has to be done correctly. Now, my first degree is in exercise physiology. I was a professional athlete I was a professional martial artist for over 46 years. I know that stuff like the back of my hand. So I trained, thousands of people. Just get a hold of me and I can help you with that. You're welcome. I appreciate being here. Lakeem, grateful. Thank you, Lakeem. Lisa, 56 is a great age, boy. Some days I feel 35. Some days I feel 70. Yeah, yeah. um, hold on now. Hold on. So, how does fear tie into winding down of Kali Yuga? Ooh, hold on a second, guys. I got a big question here. How does fear tie into the winding down of Kali Yuga and transition into the golden age? How does fear tie in? Well, now I'm waiting for official word. Bhagavan has just spoken to the question of has Kali Yuga ended during March? Um, and he said it's likely. I'm waiting for an official word. The ending of Kali Yuga has um, two sides to it. There is the internal Kali Yuga within each of us related to our heart and consciousness. And there is the big external Kali Yuga morphic field. And um, the ending of Kali Yuga or winding down of Kali Yuga is the uh, creation of calamities, war, death, uh, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, the fires, the wars, um, the answering of karma. See, when humanity destroys forests, there's karma because all the trees are alive. When they destroy the ocean, they go hunting whales that are fully conscious and have no escape, no way to protect themselves, and they're murdered. there's karma. When hunters go out with dogs and radar and corner bears and blow them to bits, there's karma. When uh, humanity, when a group of people go over and murder everybody else, there's karma. It's all karma. It has to be answered. So it gets answered through Kali Yuga. Now, how does fear tie into it? Well, seeing somebody coming to blow your head off will scare you, or thinking about nuclear war will scare you, or having energy directed weaponry disintegrating your house and melting everything will scare you. Um, the fact that the oceans will be dead in about 2 decades, that'll scare you. Um, I mean, it'll all scare you. Now, how does fear tie into it? Well, when you have a morphic field of people who are all scared, witness what happened with COVID. All they said was there's a virus, pandemic, and the whole world grabs masks, rushes down to get injected so that they can be killed, and close down everything. And all it is what it is it's a nothing. And when you have full blown calamities like Mother Nature, that'll scare you. Then the fear, it's a self generating, self fulfilling resonance universe, right? Like I always teach everybody, everything goes by resonance. So the more fear or the more anger, the universe, all the universe says is, what have I always taught you? It says, okay, and it gives more, and it reinforces that. See, that's why Bhagavan, they won't even talk about the dark side, because he says if we talk about it or explain it, it gives it more power. So what they do is they only will talk about um, the divine and the good side. They'll say the dark side's there, but they don't want to give it any power. But what happens for humanity, Bhagavan's an avatar, so he can see what we don't. For us people, and remember I told you the self is fear. And when all of these things that we can't control, you can't control an earthquake, you can't control a volcano, you can't control force directed weaponry, you can't control. So what happens is, they just panic and shrink, and they're willing. People will do anything they're told, like mice. They all just obey. The golden age, as I just did a video that'll be coming out. See, the golden age is ruled by the heart. Kali Yuga is ruled by the mind. The mind, like Eckhart Tolle says, the mind, while it can be a useful tool, is really the enemy and the danger and the terrible, the mind. And Kali Yuga it's called the Iron Age. There's no heart. So if you see a high level person like my friend Raghavanji in India, Kali Yuga has ended for him. He's enlightened. He's fully in his heart. His heart has flowered. His existence and his consciousness is just imbued with love. And there isn't any more issues. So Kali Yuga has ended for him internally. Now that is not my state. So don't put me with Raghavanji. Um, but for people of that level that are enlightened, I got to say that again, that are enlightened, because only an enlightened person can have flowering of the heart. You're never going to have flowering of the heart, then enlightenment. Has to go the other way. So internally there can be the ending of Kali Yuga now, because the golden age has begun. It's a small epicenter that has occurred in India. It consists of 300 people that have been given such a high exalted state, that golden age, and then from there out it grows out. But the big overarching energy field, I have to hear from Bhagavan before I'll listen to anybody about that at all. But that's how this all ties in. See, that's how it all ties in. And uh, the problems, the reason the world is dying is because of mind, not because of heart, because of mind. And the mind cannot heal what it created. It has to come from a different level of consciousness. Did I answer that question? How do I respond to fear when it arises? Well, like John Wayne said, courage is feeling the fear and going out and going into it anyway. Like I think he was talking about riding a horse, saddling up and riding anyhow. Another great warrior said one time, the only time a man or a person can be brave is when they're afraid, you know. And Michael Robert Pick, the most dangerous and uh, one of the greatest fighting machines that the world has ever known, is Michael Robert Pick. Still alive, served First Marines, Vietnam, Marine sniper, and he's a professional killing machine. And I studied under him for 4 years when I was in my 40s. And I asked him about being a warrior, and he lived for I don't know how many months and months and months on end, all alone in the jungles, and kills everything and anything. I mean, he's an incredible person to meet. Well, anyway, he said that there's no such thing as a warrior that's not afraid. He said anybody that says that is a liar. Because I used to wonder, how would I ever have enough courage to be in a real firefight? Means real lethal engagement, because I was trained for urban warfare, but I never was in urban warfare. Now, how do you respond when fear arises? First thing you do is recognize it, but you have to reframe. You reframe. Let me give you an example as a lady. When I used to teach women how to fight in self-defense and so forth back in the 1990s. If somebody's going to rape you, or if you're a guy and you're somewhere and some guy or guys intend to manhandle you, beat the hell out of you or whatever. One very normal reaction is to get really scared. But what you do is, I used to teach them how to reframe and harness the energy of anger by immediately identifying yourself as a proud human being, and no one has the right to put a hand on you. No one has the right to harm you, to do anything to you. And how to engage your anger, and the anger will overtake the fear. And then you go through their eye. I wasn't trained to punch a man in the nose. I'm trained for warfare, so it's a little different. But you to overcome fear, you reframe to something that makes you feel courageous, strong, proud, resolved. You know, as a man, for instance, I'll fight to the death over anything if it's principle. I won't fight to the death over um, some silly thing. But if it's a matter of principle, I will. And there's a few people in this world who know that. Um, because the principle reframes me above my fear. Does that make sense? So the principle reframes me above it. Warriors that fight for the United States military or any military, their sense of duty and their loyalty to their comrades rises them above their fear. If you're a husband and someone attacks your wife, your love of your wife, your position as a man and as her husband lifts you above the fear that the other guy's bigger or that he's armed or whatever. That's how you do that. Okay? 5-minute bathroom break and continue for a few more. Sure, absolutely. Um, take 5 minutes and come on back. I love this very much. Go right ahead. I'll be very happy to continue. No problem. Hello, we're back.
Microphone, microphone.
How to help someone with eczema? Just to get a hold of
And
me.
Dr. G got. Oh,
Oh,
oh, hold
am
on.
I good? Should I start answering questions, Johnny? I have a question from Lisa. How to help someone with eczema? Just get a hold of me. Have a session. I do very have very great success with skin conditions. I've done a lot with eczema in the past. No problem. Eczema means that there's something. Whenever you see a skin condition, it means they need to scan their life. What is irritating them? And eczema is sort of severe, or it can be severe. So you gauge it that way. What is irritating? And then you look at the part of the where on their body there is the eczema occurring, and that'll often give a clue to what is the source cause of the eczema. And then we remove that, and the eczema will disappear. Okay, Shiba, do you have any dietary recommendations to rejuvenate the body? Yes, I do. I have a great many, but fundamentally, if you get a hold of me, I would recommend ASEA Redox, and then a lot of Ganoderma. I take Ganoderma on and off every day, all day. Really good omega 3, high grade omega 3, um, and the DHA component needs to be higher to take care of the brain. Um, you get a juicer, and you want to aim for 7 is the recommended amount. 7 various vegetables. They're all different, especially if you can find any vegetables of various colors. Colors are important. Put them all in the juicer and drink that. And you can get a enema. If you get a hold of me, I'll send it. I'll send you the links. And if you take a coffee enema, real professional coffee enema, so the coffee has no pesticides, it's pure, and you flush your liver clean. So you do that every week. And if the liver is really clean like that, and you're putting in real high grade nutrition, you'll stay young. You'll have the energy. You'll be able to repair. It makes a world of difference. In the mornings, I drink a big glass of water. Always, especially I do it all day, but in the morning, water should be really warm up to hot. And I put apple cider vinegar in there. I squeeze like a quarter of a lime in there, a little dash of Himalayan sea salt, and a good heap, a good quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And I mix that all up, and I put a little dash of really good honey in there, and I drink that. And that will take care of your arteries and veins, your heart, energy, everything. It'll detox your liver. It'll start the whole process um, for digestion, cellular elimination. Everything is just fantastic. And then I take my nutrition, like I use a B complex with that drink, B complex, Ganoderma, and B complex, Ganoderma, and my omegas, and I put those in first thing in the morning. And then I always drink 1 cup of really good strong coffee in the morning, and that coffee is actually great for you as long as you don't have any allergies for coffee. Coffee is wonderful. It just needs to be really high grade coffee because coffee is one of the highest pesticide crops in the world, eh? But I use that, and that wakes my brain up. And um, any kind of nutrition you're using, you can check with me, and I'll tell you whether it's bioavailable for you, if, is it effective, and so forth, and how much you need to take per day relative to your body as a therapeutic dose. All of those different things I can handle for you. Okay? You should get a hold of me one time. We'll do a whole nutritional session. All right? Kimberly, I feel extremely happy and excited about the end of Kali Yuga, especially being here as it actually happens. It's motivation to keep on walking my path. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, we all of us as a karmic family, all of the humanity and all life on earth, we all selected to be here at this time to witness and be part of the end of the that great historic age of the Kali Yuga to go into the golden age. The only thing that I'm not happy about is that this golden age is dependent on the AI and quantum computer um, relationship. That part I won't speak on that issue. Not at least not now. Okay, but yeah, it's a great thing to be part of. Can you walk us through what happens energetically in a collective session like this? Can you walk us through what happens energetically in a collective session like this? Well, in this particular kind of collective session, this is educational. And I am not doing any type of frequencies or clearings or invocations or anything else. This is educational, and the purpose of this is one, first and foremost, in order to ascend in level, we need an intellectual understanding first, and then we need direct experience next. So what's going on here is cultivating a group, uh, clarifying issues, because if there's clarity, then there's flow, there's momentum, there's motivation. And then if when the clients come in to see me and we're doing real subconscious surgery, they'll get direct experience as they evolve. So that's what's going on in this kind of collective. This is an education. Sorry about that. Referring to the upcoming collective. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now during the collective sessions, um, I like this question because I want you to really understand the gravity of what's going on. Because other than Bhagavan himself, I'm the only person I'm aware of, and the only system I'm aware of that does anything remotely like this. I call it morphic physics, morphic field physics. So um, the easiest way to understand this is always to use the computer model, because basically all we are is a biocomputer. So let's say we have one laptop, and that one laptop is you. Whoever's on the other side looking at me right now, each individual, want you to think of yourself as a laptop. Now, in the laptop, inside yourself, you have software. And the software was embedded in you, into the computer, from the time we're going to call conception up until the age of 7. And the computer, your computer, you you were downloading information at 40 million bits per second, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sorry, there's a big truck going by. 40 million bits per second, 24/7, 7 days a week for the first 7 years. There's another school of thought that says it's 4 billion, but we'll use the 40 million. That's the software in your PC. And you're the PC. The software is your subconscious mind. Now, each of you is a different person, raised by different parents in different parts of the world. In fact, you can be 5 feet away from the other person, but you're still gathering information completely separate from the other person. Okay, now, when you see me privately, the field I deal with is your personal subconscious. So the 40 million per second for 7 years. When you go to a collective with me, let's say we have 40 people. So now we have that 40 million per second for 7 years times 40. And now we have that much software, and I'm going to ask a single question to that giant collective. So now you're looking at AI technology, because all AI is, they take all the data that ever existed and they're putting it into a single source, and they call it AI, or the quantum computer. So that, as you know, AI or the quantum computer is millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of times greater than a person. So when you do a collective with me, you're conjoined, all of your information is conjoined with everybody else's information. I ask the single question, which is the focal point, and the answer to the question, which comes up and is raised for everybody equally, is what I work on. I work on it up there, and it filters down to each of you. If what I need to work on or clear has no bearing on you as a person, your individual field, nothing happens. If something from that field does apply to you on any angle, it'll be cleared. And because I'm working in such a massive field, the bigger the group, the less chance there is that anything will be missed. So the collectives are big horizontal sweeps based on one question, like turning a huge page. When you do your individual sessions with me, you're doing a vertical dive, specific to you. The best possible combination is you attend both. That's why I always say try to get one private session with me every month, minimum, and do the two collectives. The collectives, when they do the huge sweeps, has the tendency to reveal deeper things inside you that were hidden before. Because of the vast array, the AI like capacity of the collective to uncover stuff that your consciousness wasn't ready to look at or see yet. And that's why depth healing is a pathway of power. I'll match depth healing. I do match depth healing to any system anywhere in the world. I'm so excited about the upcoming collective. I have truly felt a difference after each session. It has been a blessing to my life. I've even noticed a difference in my family as well. Isn't that cool? You know why you notice a difference in your family? Because as your state grows, the whoever's state is the highest and most integrated dominates the field of the family. That's why the if you look at a real good mom, a loving, which means a loving mom, and you look at a really good um, masculine, uh, mature a man as a father. So if you have, it's like an ideal family. The father is a good man. He's a masculine man that has direction and clarity. And then you have a mother that's like mother hen. She's really loving, sweet, nurturing, the whole bit, right? Now, what you'll notice is mom's heart is the most evolved. Dad's brain, his mind is the most. That's the masculine side and the feminine side. So what happens is mom's heart field holds the family together. Dad's mind field creates the clarity and direction. That is a electromagnetic field. That's what Joe Dispenza is teaching in his meditations, or Greg Braden, or anybody that knows anything. You have to the heart field is the more powerful. And you when you put the brain is electrical, heart is magnetic. When you put the two together, you have an electromagnetic field in a real good, well adapted, evolved family where everything is not toxic. That's what you have, and then you just watch how those kids grow up in a family like that. Very very rare, very very rare, unfortunately. But I hope that makes sense. Okay, if no more questions, we will go ahead and let Dr. Chico have breakfast. Love you all. Thank you so much for amazing questions. Yes, thank you all so very much. Love you all. Please come and see me and spread the word about all of these different sessions and the full moons. Um, let's build the community, eh, guys? Give me a hand. I need your referrals. I need your help. Okay, I love you all. Thank you, Johnny. Excellent. Absolutely excellent. See you all later. Bye for now. Let me go to comments so I can see something.